Welcome to the Crestron HOME deployment and demonstration video for lighting controls. We'll start by going to the Toolbox software utility, Device Discovery Tool. What we want to do is identify the IP address for our processor. It's easy to right-click and copy the IP address to make it easier to paste later on. Next, we need to access the Crestron HOME Setup app. If you don't already have this downloaded, you need to go to Crestron.com, access the product page for the processor you are using, scroll down to the Resources section, and further scroll down to Software and Firmware, where you will see the Crestron HOME Setup app for PC and Mac. Next, we need to enter the processor's IP address into the browser's address bar. This will allow us to access the Crestron HOME Setup app. Once the Crestron HOME Setup app comes up, you'll be prompted to set up your admin username and password. By default, the username is admin and the password is the processor's serial number. Click OK to initiate the authentication process. Once the Start page for Crestron HOME comes up, you're ready to begin. Choose a language. Next, you can choose to create a new system from scratch or import a system using a deploy code, which we've just generated. If your firmware is up to date, then you are ready to proceed. If you get prompted to update firmware, this process will take 25 minutes. Therefore, it's recommended to make sure all firmware is up to date prior to heading out to the job site. We'll enter the deploy code and in the validation process. All aspects of this deployment are being conducted in real time to give you an accurate feeling as to the amount of time required to effectively deploy a system. With the system validated, we then verify the system information and import the configuration. As you can see, the system configuration was successful, and now we can enter system information, dealer information, and approve the terms of use. So let's get started. Here we are in the Crestron HOME Setup app configuration main menu page. Let's go to step 1 and verify that the house we built in the My Crestron HOME configurator includes all the rooms. Let's also verify that the scenes we created have successfully imported. We'll go to the whole home scenes. As you can see, whole house scenes, entertain and relax have successfully imported. Using the back arrow, we can revert to the prior screen, back to the main menu page. Going to step 2 allows us to search for devices. We'll click Manage Gateways to connect with our Ethernet to Crestnet bridges, or wired gateways. Now that we've successfully scanned and located our Ethernet to CrestNet bridges, it's important to go ahead and assign them to the system right away. There's some behind-the-scenes synchronization which needs to occur with the Ethernet to CrestNet bridges, so we want to assign these to the system early on, and then we can go about assigning other devices while we're waiting for this to occur. We'll give each gateway a meaningful name that's easily recognizable. Now let's go back to the Pairing Devices page and search for Crestron wired and Wi-Fi devices. Clicking on Internal CrestNet Gateway allows us to search for devices that are on the CrestNet network directly, such as the Shade power supply. You can see here, it's the CSA PWS10S Hub eNet. And we're going to go ahead and place this in the equipment room. Let's go back to the Pairing Devices page and check on the progress of our Cane Ethernet to CrestNet bridge. This gateway has successfully identified the CLX dimming module and the Horizon keypad wired directly to it. The Horizon keypad needs to be added to the system, so we'll select the master bedroom, we'll click the plus button in order to add it to the system, but what we see here is that the synchronization process is not complete, so we need to give it a few more minutes. Now let's move on to Customize and Schedule and take a look at Actions and Events, let's create some of our quick actions. We're going to create quick actions for Welcome, Entertain, Relax, and Away. For Welcome, we'll use Scene functionality and we will associate the all-on lighting scene. For Entertain, we will associate the Entertain whole home scene. For our Relax quick action, we will associate a scene, which is the Relax lighting scene for the whole house. And for the Away scene, we will associate the whole house lighting all off scene. Now our quick actions are successfully configured and will appear on our touchscreen once we configure that into the system. Let's go back to the main setup page where we will go back to step 2 for pairing devices. And let's configure our wireless Infinet devices. We'll start by clicking the Start Pairing button, and we'll go to our installed devices, Horizons and Cameos, and start with the Tap 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 Hold button sequence. Once we receive LED feedback, we'll release the button and the keypad or dimmer will continue to flash until it is acquired into the system. We'll do the same with the dimmer on the right side of the 2-gang horizon setup. And moving on to the cameo switch on the left side of the cameo setup. Finally, we will tap, 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 hold on the cameo dimmer. It takes a few moments, but these dimmers and switches will begin to populate the list of available devices on the Crestron HOME system. Now that all the devices have been acquired, we can stop pairing. The next step is to assign the wireless devices to their respective rooms. Now we will select the master bathroom and assign the CLW SWEX cameo switch to the exhaust fan load. Sometimes it's helpful to use the locator button to identify the correct physical device prior to room assignment. We will assign the CLW Delvex cameo dimmer to the recessed light. Now we will select the exterior and assign the HZ-DimX horizon dimmer to control the front exterior coach light. We will proceed to the foyer, where we will assign the remaining horizon dimmer to the foyer chandelier. The assignment of wireless Infinet devices to the system is now complete. It's time to check on our Ethernet to Crestnet bridges by clicking on the Crestron Wired tab. We click on the Ethernet to Crestnet bridge to check on the Horizon Crestnet keypad. We select the master bedroom for this device. Then we assign the Horizon keypad to the master bedroom. Let's proceed to the DIN Ethernet to Crestnet bridge. Here we will assign the Cameo Crestnet keypad to the living room. It looks like the keypad is not synchronized just yet. While we have the time, let's return to the Cane Ethernet to Crestnet bridge and assign lighting loads to the CLX 2DIMM-U8 dimming module. We'll select the kitchen and assign module output number 5 to control the recessed light. For systems pre-configured on my Crestron, all we have to do is assign one lighting load and the rest are automatically assigned. The remaining module outputs on this list are unused at this time. For demonstration purposes, we will verify the automatic assignments of module outputs 6, 7, 1, and 9. Returning to the DIN Ethernet to CrestNet bridge, we will check on the Cameo keypad and assign it successfully to the living room. Our deployment is nearly complete, and now it's time to configure the touchscreen. To configure a new touchscreen, enter the Installer Settings page by pressing the gear icon. Press the System Configuration button, then the System Info and Passwords button. Now enable and set up the user interface device password. You will enter the admin username and password first, and then it is recommended to use a different password for the user interface. It's time to enter the touch panel settings. Scroll down to Edit Home. Enter the friendly username you would like to display on the touchscreen homepage. Then enter the user interface password. Finally, enter the processor's IP address. Return to the home page to verify successful touchscreen configuration. Now let's demonstrate how to change the image on the home page from a picture of the floor plan to an outdoor photo. To do this, we will exit the Crestron Setup app and enter the end user's Crestron Home app. We will need to switch from the Suburban Home project to the Luxury MDU project by swiping left a few times. For a customer with multiple Crestron homes, switching between systems doesn't get any easier. Touch the three dots at the upper right-hand corner of the iPad. Then touch Change Image at the bottom left. We will select an image from our photo gallery. We can size and position the image to our liking, and then press Choose in the bottom right corner. In seconds, the change is made on both the iPad and all project touchscreens. Deployment is now complete, and it's time to test the system. Using the display board with all the user interfaces, plus the interactive floor plan, we will test the system. But first, we will demonstrate how to change Horizon keypad backlighting colors by removing the upper trim plate and using the pointed end of the button removal tool to scroll through the different color options. We will start the test with the Horizon dimmer in the foyer, which has been configured to function as a 5-button keypad while directly controlling the front exterior load. Top button is our Welcome Home scene. The next button down is the Whole Home Entertain scene. Third button is Whole Home Relax. The fourth button controls the locally wired exterior front load, and the rear exterior load has also been configured to work with this button press. The bottom button is the Away scene, which triggers Whole Home All Off. The Horizon dimmer on the right simply controls the load wired directly to it, the foyer chandelier. Let's move on to the master bathroom, where the Cameo dimmer on the right has been configured as a 4-button keypad. The top button turns on both light and exhaust fan. The second button controls the light only. The third button, fan only. And the bottom button turns light and fan off. The Cameo switch on the left controls only the exhaust fan. Moving on to the Cameo keypad in the living room, the top button is Lights On for the whole house. The second button, labeled Lights Dim, activates the Whole House Entertain scene on the first press and activates the Relax scene on the second press. This button allows you to toggle back and forth between scenes using multi-tap button functionality. The third and fourth buttons are reserved for shades and music, and the bottom large button is the Whole House Lights Off. The split buttons at the bottom raise and lower the living room light only. The Horizon keypad in the master bedroom has a Lights On Whole House scene activated by the top button. The second button is Lights Dim, which activates the Entertain scene. The third button, labeled Lights Low, activates the Relax scene. The fourth button position has a 2-button rocker. The left side controls the master bedroom light only, while the right side is reserved for future shades. The bottom Lights Off button turns the house off. Finally, we will test the touchscreen quick action buttons as they activate whole house scenes. Welcome, Relax, Entertain, and Away. This concludes the Crestron Home Lighting Control video series. where we covered concept, design, hardware, configuration, deployment, and testing. Thank you for watching.